Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It's an early, bit of a cloudy morning this morning. Should be a nice day, a little windy here in the Ozarks. So if you live in the Ozarks in this area, don't be doing any burning today. It's not a good day to burn outside. Windy, somewhat dry conditions, dry enough. I mean, it's not crispy dry, but it's dry enough with all the dead leaves and the dead grass. Don't be burning. And come this week, late this weekend into the first part of next week, we're going to have our first real cold snap. And the Ozarks overnight lows will be in the low 20s, maybe even the teens. So should get ready for that one. Oh, goodness gracious. A lot of stuff's going on. There's a narrative being pushed, a false narrative being pushed right now on social media in the last, 24, 48 hours. And I want to clarify it in case you haven't seen the full story. The president, the White House, and a lot of the social media influencers are pushing this narrative that grocery prices have gone down because Thanksgiving dinner is going to be cheaper this year. And let me just say, it's a complete lie. It's not true. Where they're getting that information is Walmart every year puts out information. They put out a list, a shopping list for Thanksgiving dinner, what a family of four needs to purchase for a full Thanksgiving dinner. And this year's list that they put out is about 25% cheaper in cost than last year's. But this year's is missing like 4 or 6 items off of the list. And this year's items are all priced at the Great Value Walmart brand, whereas last year had a lot of name brands. So it's a type of shrinkflation in a way. But, so the bottom dollar cost, yeah, it technically is 25% cheaper, but you're getting less. You're getting less, you're not getting the name brand stuff, and you're getting less courses in the meal. So it's been, spun as, well, that's evidence right there that grocery prices are down. They're not. Don't buy that. Several other things I was noticing, and this is something that you should probably be paying attention to because it affects your prepping. Shipping, cargo container ships coming from China are at the lowest level in 20 years. Lowest level in 20 years. Coming from China. Now, I know you might say, well, that's good. That's good. We don't need all that Chinese junk. I would agree with that, but, that we don't want it, but the country needs it because the country does not have the infrastructure to just immediately replace all that. So there's less stuff coming in. A lot of the shipping container and sources and import sources are saying that there's a whole lot less stuff coming into this country right now, import. And so then it's because of the tariffs. So that means that there's possible shortages ahead. There is a trickle-down effect when it comes to the supply chain. What happens at the ports today may not hit your store shelves for weeks or months ahead. So it's something to be paying attention to. Also, job losses this year. Job losses this year are the lowest, the most job losses. I'll spit it out in a second. The most job losses this year in 22 years, showing the slowdown of the economy. Everything is just screeching to a halt. Yesterday, with the press, the president finally, he kind of stumbled over his words. You could tell he didn't want to. But if you listen to it, he did admit that tariffs are predominantly being paid for by the American people. And the Treasury put out information that, yes, about 60 to 70% of the overall tariffs burden is being bore or paid for by the American consumer. And the rest of it, the businesses are taking up that. What I've been saying all along, China's not paying no tariffs, folks. You and I are paying them. That's one of the reasons why it's just ridiculous and hurtful. And I'm not opposed to tariffs in principle, because like I've said before, they are actually a constitutional, sound form of taxation. But when you've got that and all the other taxes still going on, that's the problem. And for those of you that say, well, let's just do away with the income tax and do tariffs. To replace the amount of income, the revenue from income taxes, tariffs on every item that is imported into this country would have to be somewhere between 160 and 180%. And that's assuming that we don't reduce the amount of importation. You know, if we start doing domestic instead of importing, then it would even go higher. So it's just, unfortunately, I don't think it's feasible because we're in too deep of a hole, folks. That's the point. We're in too deep of a hole. So, switching gears just a little bit, and this is very important, I think, because it's exactly what I've been warning you and telling you for days and weeks now about this revolution to a new tomorrow, you know, this great reset, Agenda 2030, golden age, and all the digital technocracy that's going to be the taking over. So yesterday, Elon Musk did this kind of town hall type event where they're showcasing their new Optimus robot. This is like a butler, you know, maid, butler, whatever. There's several companies that's getting in on this. You buy this thing and it does your dishes and folds your clothes and, you know, turns the lights on and off for you and all that kind of stuff. But they're all saying that this is just the beginning, you know, that as this technology develops, these things will be able to do more and more to the point that you may not have to do anything. You just kind of sit there and get fat and lazy and do nothing, right? And be happy. Own nothing and do nothing. Anyways, Elon Musk, who I'm not saying he's the smartest or anything like that, but he does control a lot. And I think he's smart enough, right? They announced this week that his new pay package for, you know, being the CEO will be $1 trillion. First $1 trillion pay package. But anyways, so at this event, they were taking questions. And in the talk, he was talking about this robot and how it can do things. He was talking about AI and how AI will be able to, you know, do all this stuff, take all these jobs, everything, you know, that it'll do all this amazing stuff for humanity. And then of course digital currency and all this kind of, it was kind of all encompassing talk. And someone said, hey, okay, so if AI takes jobs, the robots take jobs, and cryptocurrencies or digitals make currency, the current concept of money, obsolete, because that's what Elon Musk was getting at, you know, and currently right now the power hold is amongst the wealthy. Then how's that going to work if money no longer has any relevance? Then what are you wealthy people going to be doing? And Elon Musk's response was a little bit shocking. Even the crowd vocally expressed shock. He said that in the near future that AI will be ruling everything, that it won't be these wealthy elites in charge, that the AI will be ruling everything. They will be in charge. It will be making the decision. It will be, you know, doing everything. The robots and the AI, and there won't be this ruling elite class in the sense of what we're used to. He said, but that's why we just need to make sure that the AI is nice. Now, it's interesting because, you know, approximately, I think a decade ago or so, maybe a little bit less, time has flown fast, but Elon Musk was warning, he was one of the ones warning that AI was demonic, that AI was going to destroy humanity. And I think everyone was, you know, Elon Musk is trying to help us out and warn us of this. No, I think Elon Musk was just telling you what he wanted. I mean, this guy is the guy that walks around in Batmouth outfits and 666 and all this other kind of, I mean, not just anti-Christ type things, but very demonic. And if you dig into the guy's past and his family, raise some eyebrows. So, you know, I know that there's those of you that might say, yeah, but that's what they're hoping for. Those are projections. That doesn't necessarily mean that will happen. And that may be much longer down the road than they think. It's possible, yes, but if you look at the speed of advancement right now, if you look, for instance, these robots, like the one he was showing, this Optimus robot that they've come out with. If you look at it just a couple of years ago, it looks primitive compared to now. AI, look at the AI video. I mean, there's AI video all over the place now that it's hard. It's very, very difficult to near impossible to tell whether or not it's real. And just 2 or 3 years ago, it was overtly obvious that it was fake. It was not good quality. And so the stuff, and that's just the simple stuff, advancement. The actually understanding the AI, how it's capable of understanding and figuring out problems and communicating with itself and kind of like it's almost starting to gain consciousness. That's happening pretty quick. And I'm just letting you know, folks, you better be getting ready for this stuff. I mean, you use the system, I guess, now to your advantage as much as possible, but at some point you have to make a decision on whether or not to pull the plug, and you better be prepared for that, because that means everything. I mean, that means you're removing yourself from society, and unplugging from the matrix, and there's no going back after that. And that's a lot of preparations. That's a very serious move, and so you should be really thinking about that. One last thing, I saw that the president had a big press conference yesterday, and it was to announce a deal with Ozempic, the diet medication, pharmacia. The whole make America healthy again, except we're giving them drugs that, it may help them lose weight, but, they go blind, and it destroys their digestive gut health and all kinds of other stuff. So it's just, his last term was pushing, the pokey poke COVID. And I guess this time it's, the drug that's going to make everyone lose weight and die in the process. So you need to get ready, because all is not what it seems, folks. You need to have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, and pray for discernment, because the Father there's only going to be a few that really wake up and see it. Not everyone's going to. And you need to pray and make sure that your relationship with the Father is where it needs to be, so that you are some of the ones that see it. Get your houses in order, folks. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.